Welcome back to the Franco and Friends YouTube channel. My name is Mark. On this channel, I share my experiences fathering a child on the autism spectrum. In today's video, we're going to dive in. We're going to talk all about biomedical treatments for autism. We're going to answer the question, what exactly are biomedical treatments for autism? And then we're going to dive in and we're going to discuss some of the most common biomedical treatments that parents of autistic children are using right now to help their children progress faster, live healthier, happier, and a higher quality of life. So stick around. All right, now before we dive into the actual video, I have two quick things that I want to discuss. Number one, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. Nothing I say should be taken as medical or professional advice. All I'm doing is sharing our journey with you, so make sure you do your own research before you change or implement any of the strategies discussed throughout any of my videos. And then number two is more so kind of just like an agreement, right? Like a friendly agreement. And the agreement is, if you watch my videos and you feel like you're getting value from them, you like the videos and you want to watch more, all I ask is you kindly subscribe. That's it. It's like the buddy system. So we're shaking on it. You like my videos, you want to watch all of them completely for free. All I ask is you subscribe to the channel. That's it. It's quick, it's easy, and like I said before, it's completely free. Okay? All right, I appreciate you. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive right in and let's answer the question, what exactly are biomedical treatments for autism? Biomedical treatments for autism are a range of interventions that aim to improve the physical symptoms and underlying medical conditions associated with autism. Biomedical treatments are generally thought of as complementary or alternative treatments. And when people hear that, sometimes they question it. And some people believe that, maybe it's not going to be as effective. But I can tell you firsthand from our experiences, as well as many other parents of autistic children, their experiences, that when done safely and correctly, biomedical treatments are legit and they absolutely work. Now, let me kind of just share with you a different perspective on biomedical treatments, right? The way that I think about it. So when I think about biomedical treatments for autism, there's a very simplified version of it, okay? What we're doing is we are observing our children, we're watching our children for symptoms. When we see the symptoms, we're trying to find the root cause that is causing those symptoms. What is leading to those symptoms? So, for example, constipation. Our children are chronically constipated. Why are they constipated? Let's find out why and let's heal it from the inside out rather than using a Band-Aid like Marilex. Let's find out why. Why is this going on? Let's find out and let's heal it from the inside out. That's it. It's really that simple. Now, before we dive into the most common biomedical treatments for autism, I want to quickly go over how I got into biomedical treatments for autism, right? Like, how did I discover this world of biomedical treatments for autism? Well, when my son was about 3 years old or so, give or take, we were doing all the traditional therapies, the speech, the OT, the behavioral, the early interventions, all the things. And he still wasn't making progress. And on top of that, he was struggling with many different health issues and physical issues. And we made a doctor's appointment. We told the doctor, he's never sleeps. He's always constipated, always has an upset stomach. He's always angry. He's having tantrums, meltdowns, all these different things. And the doctor just looked at us and he said, unfortunately, that's just kind of part of autism. It just goes with the territory. And at the time, I didn't know much about autism. So he was the doctor. I trusted him. And I said, oh, okay, So we went back home. We went on like this for a period of time, still not making much progress. His symptoms were getting worse and worse and worse. And that's when I said, you know what? I really have to start research. I have to figure this out. Went online, and I read that many other parents of autistic children, their children were struggling with very similar issues. And the more research I did, I came across biomedical treatments for autism. I reached out, I went to seminars, I spoke to other doctors, I spoke to other parents. Finally, we were ready. We implemented all the things that I read about. And within 6 months, my son went from being completely nonverbal to talking and making more progress and being happier and healthier than he has ever been in his entire life. Now, let me also state that I am not suggesting your child is going to have similar results. Every child is very different. All I'm doing is sharing our journey with you to open up your mind and awareness so that you, the parent, can make better informed decisions for your child, for your family. Okay. Now, let's dive right into biomedical treatment number one, which is optimizing gut health. healing the gut. Now, I did this one first because I truly believe that this is the most important one. Many people believe that the gut is simply for breaking down the foods that we eat and absorbing the nutrients from the foods that we eat, but the gut is responsible for so much more than that. They call the gut the second brain for a reason. On top of that, a lot of our immune system is produced in the gut, and most of our neurotransmitters are produced in the gut as well. So I want you to think about it like this. If you have an unhealthy gut, then the odds are you are unhealthy, because if your gut is produced in your immune system and you have an unhealthy gut, that means your immune system is unhealthy. And if you have an unhealthy gut, which is responsible for many of the neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, dopamine is about motivation and drive, focus, all those things. Serotonin is the happiness hormone in your brain. So if you have an unhealthy gut, that means your brain, the neurotransmitters in your brain, are going to be completely out of whack. So you will live an unhealthy life, unfortunately. So the gut is responsible for so many different things, which brings me right into biomedical treatment number 2, which goes hand in hand with gut health, and that's dietary interventions. And the reason that one is number 2 is because in order to optimize and heal the gut, a lot of times you have to implement dietary interventions, because many times a lot of our children are allergic to certain foods or have food intolerances, and it's irritating the gut and causing inflammation. There are many different diets out there for autism, but the most popular one is probably the gluten-free, casein-free, and dairy-free diet. And the idea behind this is that many autistic children struggle to break down gluten and dairy. And as a result, when they consume these foods, it produces peptides very similar to opioids and cause a very similar effect that opioids give you. So sometimes you may notice that your child is laughing, they're spacey, they almost seem like they're drunk. That can be from them consuming gluten and dairy and having the inability to properly break down those foods. Which brings us right into biomedical treatment number 3, which is eliminating environmental toxins. Now, statistics show that many autistic children have higher levels of toxins in their bodies. So if that's true, we don't want to be adding on to the toxic load. Instead, we want to be lowering the toxic load and lowering the toxic burden on their bodies, on their brains, because the more toxins that you have, the more unhealthy you're going to be. So instead of adding on and continuously using unhealthy household products, unhealthy personal hygiene products, we want to try to use healthier products, limit the chemicals, and limit the toxic exposures. So we want to do that by using things like healthier deodorants, healthier toothpaste, healthier all personal hygiene products, cleaning products, dish soap, laundry detergent, all these things. We want to lower the amount of chemicals, lower the toxic burden, which brings us right into biomedical treatment number 4, which is detoxification. And like I said in the last one, that if it's true and many autistic children have higher levels of toxins in the body, it would make sense that detoxification would be beneficial for many autistic children. Now, let me state that this is something that needs to be done with a doctor, because if you do this the wrong way, you can actually worsen your child's symptoms and make them more unhealthy. So you want to do this while working closely with a doctor, which brings me right to biomedical treatment number 5, which is supplementation. And this one is very beneficial for so many autistic children because, as you know, many of our children have very limited diets, and as a result, they struggle with nutritional deficiencies. And if they're struggling with nutritional deficiencies, they will not be able to thrive, right? Because if they're not getting adequate nutrients from the foods that they eat, they can't thrive. They're not going to grow. They're not going to be healthy. So as a result, we need to utilize supplementation. And then go back to number 1, which is optimizing gut health. A lot of the times you need supplements to help heal the gut. Now, before I talk about the last one quick thing, right? Now, all this might sound like a foreign language to you right now. And listen, I get it. I was where you are right now. I get it. It's very confusing and overwhelming. So if you want a roadmap, you want to learn from a community, you want to join the most loving, supportive community, then I invite you to check out the Franco and Friends Autism Academy, where I share everything that I've learned over the past 7 years, learning, developing strategies, processes, and systems that have helped my son. So if you want to learn, you want to feel more confident supporting your autistic child, check out the Franco and Friends Autism Academy, risk-free for 7 days. All you have to lose is progress. So check it out. Biomedical treatment number 6, which is HBOT, which stands for hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Now, the idea behind this is that by increasing the amount of oxygen in the body and the brain, it helps to reduce inflammation, and it helps with detoxification. So many parents claim that once they start implementing HBOT therapy, their children are progressing faster, they're happier, they're healthier, and their cognition has significantly improved. Now, before I let you guys go, remember, I'm not suggesting you go out and try all these different protocols, these different treatments. All I'm doing is giving you information to open up your mind and awareness so that you know that there may be other ways to help support your autistic child. So make sure you do your own research before changing or implementing any of the strategies discussed throughout any of my videos. And again, if you want more support, you want to join a loving, supportive community, check out the Franco and Friends Autism Academy, risk-free.